all filmed at V Festival's old home, which is Highlands Park. And so there you go. This is 21st to the 23rd of August. Right, broadcast over 3 nights. I'm bored already. I mean, and to be honest, I don't really know who they all are, actually. I don't know who Anne-Marie is. I've heard of Dizzy Rascal, but he's not a hit in years, has he? And Ollie Murs. When was the last time Ollie Murs sang? I mean, they don't know, and they're of that sort of age where you're supposed to know these kind of things. I mean, I'm sort of, thinking, well, I mean, that's the best thing. Perhaps there's nobody else available. That's the Rolling Stones who are busy somewhere, Steve, I have 2 Shar-Pei, the wrinkly dogs. I've confiscated their boxing gloves and they're not given anything sharp. Soft as sponge, but they can bark. Oh, right. I quite like the idea, actually. Like the idea. Well, my friend Pete had 2 Shar-Peis. But you're right, wrinkly dogs, which I think it kind of suits them, actually. But they seem to be okay, but I had no idea that they were Chinese fighting dogs years and years ago. It's funny, isn't it, to think about these sort of things. Sadly, that is about it for this morning, which means that I have to tell you that you must download, because we have programs to download. My Little Bit Extra returns tomorrow. Cracking show tomorrow. I've seen some of the stories. Cracking stories they are. And we'll do it again from 4 tomorrow morning. So just go to lbc.co.uk and you can learn how to podcast. It's so simple. It doesn't cost any money whatsoever. No money will change hands. And you can also find out about my virtual show, which is literally a matter of a week away. This time next Sunday, I'll be getting ready to do my first virtual show, to which we have many, 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 many people who will be watching it. Have a great day today. Make sure you download the LBC Apple Global Player. Coming up at 10, it's Ian Dale. He's got a book out.
Good morning, everybody. Sunday, the 9th of August, 2020. Do NHS staff deserve a 15% pay rise? Do they go the extra mile and deserve to be rewarded? This nurse thinks so.
We got a clap on a Thursday night. It's just not enough. Nurses, at the end of the day, it's a vacation. I love my job. I love my patients. I love everything about what I do. But at the end of the day, I've still got a mortgage to pay.
That later on, the Navy may be called in to help Border Force with the migrant channel crossings. What should our approach be? Tobias Elwood is the chair of the Defence Select Committee.
We have drone capacity, we have Samsung radars on the Type 45 that can pick up the size of a cricket ball across the English Channel. We can intercept them far earlier and then ensure that they then get sent back to Calais.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
Global's newsroom at 7 o'clock. Prime Minister's warning teaching unions getting children back to school across England is a national priority. As written in the Mail on Sunday, it's a moral duty to ensure classrooms reopen next month, and hinted at closing shops and pubs in certain areas if necessary where cases of infections rise. The National Education Union's already urged heads to ignore threatening noises from government and stay closed if they feel unsafe. Mark Lehane, Director of Parents and Teachers for Excellence, insists education must come first.
If that means other parts of society have to ease back what they do, if we have to close other parts, then that's only right because it's important that kids get back to school because they've paid the heaviest price so far.
Labour's demanding targeted assistance for industries and businesses still shut down due to the pandemic to stop what it calls a jobs bonfire. The Shadow Business Minister Lucy Powell said it's illogical and unfair to prevent firms reopening while the furlough scheme is being wound up. Brazil's now the second country in the world to surpass 100,000 COVID-19 deaths. It's been reporting an average of more than 1,000 deaths a day since late May. The country's presidents are sceptic about the impact of the disease. Jair Bolsonaro frequently mingles with crowds and has tested positive himself. The Home Secretary's appointed a former Royal Marine to the role of clandestine Channel Threat Commander. It's to make crossing the English Channel from France to the UK unviable for migrants. More than 500 have made that journey in just 3 days, including 151 yesterday. Early parliamentary elections are being planned in Lebanon, where anti-government protests have intensified. More than 100 people were injured in Beirut yesterday. Police responded to demonstrations firing shots and tear gas. There's anger the ruling elite is partly responsible for Tuesday's explosion caused by thousands of tons of ammonium nitrate stored in a port warehouse. Sky's Alex Rossi thinks it's unlikely to quieten the dissent.
That really is not going to take the sting out of this, and that is because if you have new elections, you're still going to have the same rotten political system, which is why people came out on the streets in the first place, and what they blame for causing the explosion.
A teenager's died after being stabbed in London's West End. It happened just off Oxford Street last night. 3 arrests have been made. Chelsea are out of the Champions League, beaten last night by Bayern Munich. They lost 4-1 in Germany and 7-1 on aggregate. And forget Joe Wicks, it appears a less well-known fitness instructor is really the nation's lockdown PE teacher. Lucy Wyndham-Reed's had more views on YouTube than the man known as the Body Coach. A 7-minute workout to lose belly fat recorded 2 years ago has been viewed 17 million times in the last 3 months. The weather today dry and hot again for southern England. Some hazy sunshine in the west, thunderstorms later. A cloudy start for Northern Ireland. Sunny spells further north over Wales and Scotland today, and a high of 34 degrees. From Global's newsroom, I'm Bill Overton.
Everyone likes the freedom to choose. With Peugeot, you can choose your model. Choose petrol, diesel, plug-in hybrid, or fully electric, and choose to buy in-store or online. This is the Peugeot power of choice. Experience the all-new motorway, new 3008 plug-in hybrid SUV, and all-new 2008 SUV today. Peugeot, let's reconnect. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Andrew Castle.
3 minutes past 7 is the time. Very good morning to you, Andrew Castle here. Sunday, the 9th of August. Plenty to get through this hour. In fact, throughout the 3 hours, I'll take through the papers in about 20 minutes' time. We'll be off to Beirut to see the latest in that country. Riots, ministries being taken over, people putting up nooses in public areas, throwing stones and rocks at the security forces. Really difficult. Actually, one of the security forces died being chased. He fell down a lift shaft. It's absolutely hell in Beirut after that explosion last week, so we will take a report on that. Let's get straight into this migrant. Is it a migrant crisis that we have, a migrant crossing crisis? Just have a quick look at some of the numbers of people coming over, and of course accepting that everybody is a human being with their own story to tell. We have to break it down into numbers. Migrants crossing the Channel 2018, 500. Migrants crossing the Channel in 2019, 1,850, and around about 4,000 this year. So business is going very well for those who are smuggling. Against this backdrop, and good weather, of course, in August, encouraging people to have a go. And French ask for £30 million to police Channel. Paris to demand funding for patrols in deal to allow Royal Navy to take back migrants. So what's the situation with this? Are we going to be using the Royal Navy? They are said to be considering a request from Border Force or government to get involved in this. What can they actually do? And why are people coming over here in the first place? And I'll tell you the actual question here, and I think we missed it yesterday, and I think a lot of people have missed it so far, if I've maybe so far. I think it's just about migration and immigration. That's what this is about. It's not about this sort of narrow part of it. It's about our attitude towards people from elsewhere coming to our country. And I think we need to have a sensible debate about how many people should be in our country, how many people we can support in this country, and how we want to live our lives. So we will have that debate, and no doubt one or two of you will say that's racist, it's discriminatory, you're being biased, you're being prejudiced. Well, so be it, but we'll try and have that debate later on this hour. Meantime, what is the actual situation sort of in France, here, and the gap in between the Channel? How dangerous is it? Why are people coming to this country? Bella Sankey is Director of Detention Action. Hello, Bella.
Hello, morning, Andrew.
Good morning. Tell me about Detention Action. What do you do?
So my charity
Straits of Boat, we've actually lost control of our borders. We can't control the numbers that are coming across on the channel, and so they're obviously looking at a broader range of assets available to them, of course, to try and stop the flow of irregular migration and put the smugglers out.
Just lastly, but what can the Navy add to this situation?
Well, we've only got 5 cutters, Andrew, that we inherited from Customs in 2008. They weren't really designed to intercept people on the high seas. There are a number of countries that have got far greater maritime assets than us. We've got significant maritime assets within the Navy, things like radar and advanced warning systems, capabilities that I think at the Home Office want to look around Whitehall to see what defence have got, Coast Guard have got.